we got to talk about Bishop Whitehead and his shenanigans, because now we find out that he was sued for $90K for stealing parishioners' money. Oh, hell no. Oh, God, they getting this man. So, like I said, I'm be back. And so, I'm reading from The City, this news site that I ain't never heard of until today. So it reads, Brooklyn pastor robbed during sermon stole parishioners' savings, lawsuit alleged. Court papers claim $90K disappeared after Lamor Whitehead promised to help buy real estate while he ran a failed campaign for Brooklyn Borough President last year. Child, this man is a hot diddy mess. So it reads, the Brooklyn pastor who says he was robbed in the middle of giving his Sunday sermon stole $90K in retirement savings from one of his parishioners. A lawsuit filed last year in Brooklyn Supreme Court alleges. Lamor Whitehead, the bishop at Leaders of Tomorrow International Churches in Canarsie, is accused of convincing 56-year-old Pauline Anderson to invest nearly her entire life savings in one of his firms, with the promise that he could help her buy a home despite her bad credit history, the court papers say. Anderson wrote Whitehead a $90K cashier check in November 2020 and relied on him to give her $100 monthly allowances to pay for her living expenses, according to the lawsuit. She a dummy. After months went by in early 2021 without the monthly payments or progress on the home purchase, Whitehead allegedly told Anderson that he was treating her investment as a donation to his then campaign for Brooklyn Borough President. He said he had no obligation to pay it back. Mr. Whitehead fraudulently introduced Ms. Anderson to liquidate her entire life savings to pay him the investment of $90K, promising to use the funds to purchase and renovate a house for her, alleges the lawsuit. Ms. Anderson was instead left with nothing but a vague promise by Mr. Whitehead to pay the funds back in the future, followed by an assertion that he had no further obligation to do so. Anderson declined to comment through a family member who said Anderson didn't want to talk because the litigation is still pending. Whitehead, who shared a close relationship with Mayor Eric Adams when Adams served as Brooklyn Borough President, didn't respond to a message left with his church on Wednesday. He has in the past served time in state prison following convictions for identity fraud and grand larceny. Video that went viral on Sunday shows three men clad in black robbing Whitehead and his wife of their pricey jewelry in the middle of his sermon shortly after 11 a.m. One of the men appears to put a gun in Whitehead's back as he collects the jewelry, which was reported at being valued between $400K and $1 million. Whitehead, a pastor known for Instagram videos displaying his high-end taste in cars, clothes, and real estate, has offered $50K to information lending to the rest of the alleged bandits. The NYPD on Wednesday released surveillance videos that show the three alleged robbers crossing the streets just before they entered Whitehead's small Canarsie church. Yo, this lady isn't the brightest bulb. I'm sorry. I can't with this. But I'm going to basically, read more of this. So it reads, seeking a home. Anderson's son, Rashid Anderson, was the one who introduced her to Whitehead shortly after she became a church parishioner in January 2020, the lawsuit says. She had just recovered from life-threatening surgery, and Whitehead offered to join her on a phone call to pray for her health. In July 2020, Anderson connected with Whitehead about her desire to buy a home, seeking help from him in addressing her bad credit history and getting assistance in locating a house. Whitehead had earlier helped Rashid secure housing, the court paper said. Whitehead soon got Anderson on the phone with two money lenders who told Anderson she'd have a tough time getting a loan to buy a house. That's when he offered to help her if she would invest her money in his firm, Lamor Whitehead Incorporated. The court paper says she expressed reservations because she had no other income besides the savings, which is when Whitehead offered to give her the $100 monthly allowance to buy while he sought a suitable home to buy for her. She got no receipt for the $90K cashier's check she wrote to Lamor Whitehead Inc. in November 2020, according to the court papers. I'm going to stop right there. And I'm just going to read fraud and larceny. Anderson isn't the first person to accuse Whitehead of defrauding them of significant sums of money. In 2016, the New York Post reported that Whitehead still owned Monterey Symphony conductor Maximo Brigado Darman $260K for a private court judgment over an unpaid personal loan. And that loan had also involved an alleged real estate transaction. He has a checkered history. He was in Sing Sing for 5 years. I mentioned that. And I'm just going to basically read this part. No one in the city should be the victim of armed robbery, let alone our faith leaders and congregants worship in the house of God. And pretty much that's Eric Adams. And I'm not going to even talk about him because that's a whole other story. But I'm going to say this. This man, pretty much, we got to keep it real on a lot of things. And what we got to keep it real on is that this man pretty much, I think he's shady. Even though I do agree with how he felt, his sentiment with the whole thing with Mayor Bishop Larry Reed and all that. I think he's not a kosher person, if you know what I mean. And I do believe that he did that shit. I believe it. But I don't really feel all that bad for the lady, because how can you be gullible? If you know you can't get a loan because you got bad credit, it means that you can't get a loan, period. Like, what are you doing? So, I don't feel bad totally, but I feel bad that he's preying on people and he's preying on their insecurities. And a lot of people, pretty much, they're trying to get out of a bad situation. And you got to be a hard, evil person to steal somebody's life savings. And I think that this whole robbery thing that's coming up, that happened, I think it could have been a setup to just really take him down. It didn't necessarily be, stealing, for his money and everything. It could just simply be, we want to get this dude at all costs. And that's what I think it is. I think it's just that. And take the money that he basically could have stolen from people and basically used it to get, things that was for himself. And they probably took it back. It probably was some kind of Robin Hood shit, rob the rich to give back to the poor. And that would be real interesting if it was that. So I'm going to end it with that, because there's probably some more dirt to come out. But with that being said, it's your girl, Miss Analytical. I'm signing off. Thank you for listening to this commentary. Share, comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll be back tomorrow. Later.